You saw Eddie driving himself here. He had to redo his license a few weeks ago, got it first shot, and the gentleman at the RTA offered him another 5 years without even blinking. Eddie said, maybe we should start off with 3. Every day we get letters from students written to Eddie to express that they have met somebody that has changed their lives and somebody that they're never going to forget. And I just want to read you a couple of excerpts from some of these letters. I often think about Eddie Jaku, who spoke to us about his experiences during the Holocaust. I wanted to pass on a short message. There aren't many things that I remember clearly from almost 10 years ago, but he made that much of an impact on me. When I look back on all my years of schooling, I remember his talk as one of the most important opportunities for me to learn about history, humanity, and my own values. He is someone I will always remember. The next one says, I wanted to say that Eddie Jaku, who spoke to us of his experiences before, during, and after World War II, was an absolute inspiration. His passion and willingness to live was inspiring, and I just want him to know how much he touched me personally and all the students. Words really cannot explain the emotional impact he had, but I needed to write something and just say that he has changed the way I will feel and see the world forever. I feel so privileged to have heard of his experiences, and hopefully we'll get to meet this wonderful man again one day. Eddie, it is people like you that make us want to be kind to people all the time, and I really appreciate you sharing your amazing story with us. Thanks so much for being our friend, Eddie. You were by far the highlight of the tour for me and so many of us, and we will remember you for many years to come. And the last one says, if you get one thing out of this letter, I want it to be that you understand how speaking to me created a positive effect on my life. Admiration is an understatement. Your story deserves to be spoken at any time, at any place across the world. Thank you, Eddie, for your reassurance, encouragement, and pure brilliance. I will never forget you. So that is the kind of impact Eddie has, and I think you will be uttering the same words after you've heard Eddie talk to you this afternoon. So please give him a very, very warm welcome.
Good afternoon and welcome. I'm humbled by all you came here today. Please don't walk in front of me. I might not be able to follow. Please don't walk behind me because I might not be able to lead. Please just walk beside me and be my friends. That's all I ask. I want to speak to you a little bit about the sad part of my life and a little bit about the happy part. 90 years ago, I was a young man in a beautiful country of Germany, in a city called Leipzig. Lots of uncles and aunties and cousins and friends. Being a student in a beautiful school called Leibniz Gymnasium. And all this changed within 6 years. When I was 13 and a half, I was kicked out of school. I'm not German anymore. I lost 2 uncles and a grandfather fighting for Germany. Suddenly I'm Jewish. I always was Jewish. So were my uncles who died for that blooming country. Why? I'm 97 years of old age, and all my life I ask why. And this is why I work in this beautiful museum. I go to schools and universities and to the army in Canberra. I try with all my heart and all my strength to teach you and all the other people. Because we say in French, l'union fait la force. Together we are strong. Alone we are nothing. Please help me to make this world a better place for everyone. It's not easy, believe me. What we see now in the TV, it takes me back like if we were in 1930. The world has learned nothing from the experience of the Holocaust. This is why it's so important that this museum continue to exist and teach the young and the old what it means. And this is what I want you to understand. Hitler and the Nazis could break us, killed 6 million of my brothers and sisters. As I said in the little film, my voice is the voice of 6 million. I speak for the people who didn't make it. I had a very hard youth, as I said in the beginning. I lived for 5.5 years, 860 kilometers from my parents, just ringing them every 6 weeks from a warehouse. Nobody knew I was Jewish. My name was Walter Schleif. Somebody would see my bottom in the shower. I'm a dead man. You have no idea. When I speak to school children, they don't know what it means, what I had, and how lucky they are. They go home, they have mom and dad and brothers and sisters. Not only that I was alone, and in Germany, to learn my trade as a surgical instrument maker was very hard. Every year I had to go to another school, another factory. I was working for Siemens and for Carl Zeiss. And if I don't pass the exams, I'm out. But I made it. On the 9th of November, 1938, I was 18.5 years old. I made the biggest mistake of my young life. I went home. I wanted to surprise my parents. On the 10th of November would be their 20th wedding anniversary. I came home. I had a key from my house. If I didn't have this key, I would have slept in the gutter. No one was home. I opened the door, and there was my dog. I had a dog, a dachshund. His name was Lulu, L-U-L-U. He recognized me. He jumped on my leg, he licked me. He was happy, and so was I. I was a very proud young German. I thought this was the best civilization could give to a young man like me. How wrong I was. At 12:30, I went to bed. At 5 o'clock on the 10th of November, 10 of the Nazis broke in the door of our house. And I swear to you, they bashed me to pieces. I said, Eddie, this is your last day on this earth. Today you're going to die. One man took out his bayonet of a pouch, cut the sleeve of my pyjama, the left hand, and started to engrave a swastika in my skin. And as the blood was running down to my fingers, my little dog saw the blood. He jumped on him. I don't know if he bit him or just scared him. He let me go, put the bayonet on his rifle, and killed my dog, shouting, ein Judenhund, a Jewish dog. Now these were not 17 or 18 year old hoodlums who snatching ladies' handbags. These were family men with wives and children. Why? What have I done to them? How is it possible? A man like Adolf Hitler, who can't speak proper German, who couldn't, who comes from Austria, and manipulates 68 million good people to become murderers. And this is the danger. This is why I need all your help I can get. If it can happen in Germany, it can happen anywhere. Don't have any illusion. We have to be working together. We have to educate the old and the young. You must not hate. You say, I don't like him, but not hate him. This is a word you have to take out of your vocabulary. So I went to my first concentration camp, Buchenwald, 11,000 men, Jewish men, no women. 1,423 of those men were married to Christian wives. And those lovely women, good Germans, walked for 2.5 months up and down the Kurfürstendamm in Berlin, a beautiful street, and shouted, "Let our husbands out." They let them out, but no one done that for us. No, I'm not right. One Australian Aboriginal from Shepparton took his family to Melbourne and protested, gave a protest note to the German consul about the treatment of Jewish men in Germany. But it didn't help much. I can tell you, every second or third day, they opened up the gates and let 300-400 people go. And when they were 20 or 30 meters, the machine guns start shooting. All shot in the back. Then they put the body in a bag and sent to the family. Your husband, your brother, your uncle, your son tried to escape, so we shot them. They didn't try to escape. I could go, but I know the German better than my own hand. I know what is their good part and what there is. For me, a man is only a man who knows what is right and wrong. The Germans don't know that. In Germany, the women are the bosses, not the men. But what can we do? They follow, they like shiny shoes. In German school, if you come with dirty shoes, you get two canes. If a button is missing off your uniform, 3 canes. That's Germany. When I used to bring my father from the boarding school, my father used to say to me, "Eddie, I know it's hard, but one day you will be very grateful." If I would have come to Auschwitz from home, I would have lost 2 or 3 months. My mom would clean my shoes. My mom would put toothpaste on my toothbrush. But I had to look after myself for 5.5 years. And now I agree with my father. I wouldn't have lost long if I wouldn't have what he has established for me. To live by my own, to look after my health, my food. And so, with your permission, I will read you a few lines of a speech I have given here next door 10 years ago to a big crowd on the 27th of January 2010. It was the commemoration of the liberation of Auschwitz 65 years ago. And I want to read to you. Arriving with my parents and sister in Auschwitz, after selection by Dr. Joseph Mengele, my sister and I were by miracle chosen to work for Bayer. My parents were sent to the gas chamber. The days in Auschwitz start with a cold shower, bread and coffee, sometimes marmalade or margarine. then 7-kilometer walk to work, and at 3:30 again 7-kilometer back to the camp, in cold, in rain, in snow. Despite the corporal and mental misery, the frightening smoke, the deadly smell, the temptation to give up, another one with a will I never knew I had, helped me to carry on the nightmare like if someone else was enduring it. And despite it all with hope, that hope which was with every one of us to see the end and feel again like a man. It was no good to try to be smart, but smart enough to make trinkets out of metal scraps in exchange for food with ordinary workers, as food was in our mind each minute. And yet, for the creatures we had become, we still had pity and a sense of camaraderie. We had feelings for the others and hope that one day this hell will end. Our motto was to hold on. Such was the most common expression used by people living in concentration camps. To hold on, it meant not to die of hunger, in spite of the scarcity of food. It meant to save everything, even the smallest crumb of brown bread, the last drop of rutabaga broth, that when it seemed greasy was only poorly and synthetically rich. To hold on, it meant not to be killed by a bullet of a gun shot off of a short distance, or one's liver burst by the murderous punch of a capo, or one's skull smashed by the bob-nailed boot of an officer. To hold on, it meant to think I'm not hungry when one's stomach hurts. I'm not cold when one shivered, when one's hands and feet, ears were completely numb. To hold on, it meant to have enough will to resist obstinately in spite of everything, whatever it hadn't. It meant to keep one's faith and one's mind, as well one's bones and the skin that covered them. To hold on, it meant at last to want to last. I can tell you, Auschwitz is a death camp. Every morning when you wake up, you don't know if you come back to this bank tonight. We sleep 10 people between columns. And if one of the 10 goes to the toilet, when he comes back, he shakes number 1 and number 10. They get up and push themselves in the middle. If you didn't shake them, they are dead in the morning. You can only live on the outside 4 hours. Every night, 10 to 15 people in every block die from cold. One day, I became workshop manager of a big company called Bayer, B-A-Y-E-R. I was looking after the machines, and the machines were going on air pressure. And I had a sign around my neck with a metal plate. If one machine stops, you hang. So what you do? If the counter goes down, the air pressure drops, they have to call me. When I switch off the machine, I can restart. If the machine stops by itself, I cannot start, and I will be punished. But everywhere helped me, including my sister, who was on one machine. I made them whistles out of stainless steel, and I gave to every machine operator a whistle. And when this whistle was blown, I ran there, stopped the machine, and changed the clock. And I had also access to a kitchen. And I made out from a big pot, very big pot, which I found. It had a lot of holes. I fixed them all up. Because if you have 10 men from Germany, 10 Jews from Germany, you have 2 doctors. And the doctors are taken away every day to the German hospitals because their doctors are fighting in the war. And they get 4 potatoes every day, but they can't eat them because you can't eat raw potatoes. They come to Eddie. Eddie cooks the potatoes for them. And I charge 1 potato for 4. 3 for the doctor, 1 for me. So I had always plenty potatoes in my pockets, in my jacket. And one night, I go to my best friend, Kurt. He lives in block 38, and I am in block 14. I wanted to bring him some potatoes. And the Germans have very heavy boots. And in front of their boots, they have a piece of steel. And if they don't like your face, they let you pass. And when you pass, they kick you in the back. They make so much damage that you don't sit on your backside for 1 week. And you bleed. And that night, it's snowing, it's cold, and I walk along and I hear somebody boom, boom, boom behind me. I turn around, that's when he wanted to hit me in my back. But he didn't hit me in my back, he hit the potatoes. So it didn't hurt me. But I fell over and mashed the other potatoes. So when I came to my friend Kurt, oh yes, and I had to walk away like that, otherwise he give me another one if he knows he didn't hurt me. And when I came to my friend Kurt, I said, Kurt, sorry, tonight is mashed potatoes. No, it's wonderful. I want you to remember me. I'm the happiest man you will ever meet. I hate no one. As my son said, I hate no one. I want you to help me to eliminate this hate. Hate is a disease. Everyone, every color, every nationality has the right, when it's born, to live a life in peace. Why? Please, we speak about multicultural, but what we do about? We do nothing. I go out of my way. I want to teach the young and the old. We must change the attitude of the population. It's very hard, but it is possible. So, in 1945, Hitler was losing the war. In the middle of the night in Auschwitz, the bell rings. That's Appell, head count. We were 68,023 people. And they put us on the road for 90 kilometers, 3 days and 3 nights. No water, no food. We arrived, we call this the Dead March. We lost more people there in those 3 days than ever before. When you fall, they ask you to open your mouth and they shoot you in their mouth. Every time when we were walking, we heard bang, bang, that somebody dies. We arrived in Gleiwitz, which is the border town between Poland and Germany, and my friend and me, we were on the 2nd floor in a military building. And my friend Kurt says, Eddie, I cannot walk any further. So I went down in the shower and I saw a manhole. I found a ladder, I put up the ladder, I put up the manhole and opened, and there were 2 men already hiding, and they say, psst. I saw 2 men hiding there in the manhole. So I ran back to my friend and I said, Kurt, I found a hiding place. Idiot me, I should have been there too. And my friend, I put him in there, closed the hole, put the ladder back, and I was sent back to Buchenwald. My friend was liberated 2 days after by the Russian. And me, another 6 months. with the Germans. I was sent back to Buchenwald. And in Buchenwald, you cannot escape. And I had a motto: never be the first, never be the last, and never volunteer. I had to break this. Second night we are in Buchenwald, and a man comes in and shouts, "Is there a toolmaker between you?" Me. And I was sent to a small camp called Sonneburg. Only 200 people. And I worked for Krupp, K-R-U-P-P. I worked from 6 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock in the morning. A guard was picking me up from the camp, drove me about 10 kilometers to the factory. The factory was subground, underground, and he took me down and he chained me to a machine. Every 3 hours he came and took me to the toilet. I can't go to the toilet if he doesn't come. And sometimes some workers passed and asked me, which toilet? Number 2. What time? 3 o'clock. And I would go in the toilet and would find behind the door sometimes some porridge or some other stuff. It was always with full cream milk, so I had to put more water in. I couldn't absorb anymore, because at the end of the war we nearly were dead. We were walking skeletons. That's all which was left from us. But one night my name was called, and I had a sign. This time I make 7 mistakes, I hang. And I still had a little piece of bread. So I could walk 5 meters. So I went to the other machine. He was Russian. I can't speak Russian. I said to him, here is my bread. Where I'm going now, I don't need bread. My guard came, undone my chain. He holds one side and the other side is on my other arm. And he took me up 2 floors and said, go in this room. I open a door, a man is sitting there with white hair like I have now, a white coat. And he said to me, close the door. So my guard is holding the chain under the door. He has one side and the other's on my arm. Now I have a bracket here. Every time that he took me to the toilet, if I don't come out within 10, 15 minutes at the most, he pulled the chain. Every time he pulled the chain, he cut me, because this is a bracket who tilts, has a sharp corner, and I had maybe 50 cuts here. So I was holding the bracket, so if he pulls the chain, he won't cut me. And the man says to me, are you the son of Isidor? Yes. And he started crying. The man knew my father from the war. He was a prisoner of war with my dad. And he said to me, Eddie, I cannot help you escape, but I can promise you that whenever you come to this factory in the morning, you find in your machine a piece of bread I didn't have for 5 years. And he left me a tin with porridge. I had, like I said before, I had to put more water in. And he left me some salami. Lucky that I have medical knowledge. If I would have eaten this salami, within a week, I would be dead. I grinded because I didn't have the guts to tell him, don't leave me salami. But that helped me. That was helping me in the way that, Eddie, not everybody out there hates you. That gave me new courage to hold on to the end, and I did. When this factory was closed, they were walking around in circles everywhere. There was nowhere to go. We could hear the American army shells and the Russian army. And one night we stopped, and the man says, everybody gets tonight a meal. I found the horse abandoned. I'm going to make soup. That was the sign, Eddie, tonight you must go. As we were walking around, I found 2 pieces of timber, which was the lid of sour cucumbers. The German love sour cucumbers, me too. It's made in wooden barrels, and it's got a lid an inch thick, about 40 centimeter diameter and 1 inch thick. I carried those two timbers with me for quite a while. Every time we stop, I sit on them, so my guards never saw that I have those timbers, because I had a plan. When we stopped and he promised us some food, I didn't wait for the food. When it got dark, in Germany the road is 34 meter wide and is 1.5 meter above the fields. And every 100 meter under the road is a big pipe, 95 centimeter in diameter. And it's nearly always half full of water. In 1945, in April, when I wanted to go in those pipes, it was 3/4 full. I went into one pipe, as it was dark, right in the middle, crammed into 95 centimeters. And I put one timber on my right side and one timber on my left side. And I blacked out. I don't know how long I was in this. When I woke up, 38 bullets were stuck in the right timber and 10 in the left. If I wouldn't have this timber, my head would have been shot in pieces. Now I know why nobody ever came out of those pipes. I bet you that other people went into pipes, but they didn't have any timber to protect their head. Because every time we stopped, I saw two guards standing behind. I didn't know what they're doing, but now I know. First the right one shoots over the water in this pipe, and then the left one. And if you have no protection, your head is shot in pieces, and big rats in Germany eat you up. I walked out, I had no shoes, I lost my wooden shoes. I saw smoke coming out of a house. So I went to that house, knocked on the door. A young girl of 17 opened. I said, please don't be frightened. Can you help me with a pair of shoes? She knew I was Jewish. I had a little triangle in yellow. She called the father. Father came out. He hugged me. I think he kissed me. And he said, please stay with me. There are no houses for 15 kilometers. I said, no way. If a patrol car comes here and finds me in your house, they kill me and your whole family. He gave me leather shoes. He gave me a jumper, and I threw away my striped coat. He gave me a cap with a shield from a golf club. I threw away my striped club. And he told me where his high shed was. I stayed the night in the high shed, and the next morning I walked 4 kilometers to a big forest. The first night I found a cave I couldn't stand because bugs were flying around, hitting me on the head like I had no hair. And the second night I found a cave, no one would have found me there. Some mornings I couldn't find my way out myself. And I ate for 2.5 months big snails, escargot, and slugs. Yes. And I drank some water which I collected from a creek. And this water was poison. On the 4th of June, 1945, I made on my knees and my hands. I couldn't stand up anymore. So sick I was. I said, Eddie, if they kill you now, they do you a favor. You're going to die in this cave. It took me a full day to make 80 meters to the highway. And I told you the highway is that high. I found some bushes. I pulled myself up on the highway. I put my head on the highway. I'm in front of an American tank. The war was over for a month, and I didn't know. And those lovely soldiers, I don't know where they got the blanket from. They put me on a blanket on their tank and drove me 30 kilometers to a German hospital. After 7 days in a coma, I woke up. And I thought, Eddie, you're going cuckoo? I said, yesterday you were in this slimy cave, dark and cold, and now I'm in a bed with white sheets and cushions and nurses are running around. You're crazy. And I asked this Professor Hoffman every day at 8 and every night at 6, what are my chances? He never answered. But you know, we have a night sister. Her name was Emma. Oh, she was tall like that. And she comes to my bed and she puts her ear on my blanket because when you are weak, you can't see that you breathe. So she wanted to listen if I breathe. And I grabbed her arm and I said, Emma, I won't let your arm go before you tell me what this Professor Hoffman told you. Because every time I ask him, he runs away. And she whispered in my ear, 65% you're dead and 35% you live. And I made a vow. I said, lieber Gott, if you help me to come out of this hospital alive, I promise you, I will never ever put my feet again on German soil. That's what I'm doing. But I don't hate. And I want to conclude my presentation today with a wish from my heart to your heart. May you always have lots of love to share, lots of good health to spare, and lots of wonderful friends that care. Thank you. It's all right. Thank you. I fell in the other time. Now ask a question because you told me it's the right thing.
Not much one can say after such a talk. And now I think you can understand the impact that Eddie has on students that come here, because not only is he a living historian, he is a man that imparts only goodwill, good messages, and messages of positivity. So, I mean, the impact he's had on the thousands of students that have come through the museum. Eddie, we have still got a bit of time, and maybe you'd like to tell people how you landed up coming to Australia, meeting your wife, because I think that's a lovely part of your history as well.
Sure. But I came back to Belgium because I was denounced in Belgium, where I lived in a mansard, in an attic with my parents. Somebody denounced us and we were deported. And I came back to Belgium and they gave me 6 months to stay because they were sorry. They also gave me double rationnement, means double stamps. You needed stamps to buy food. And normally when we were in hiding, we had no stamps. But we bought everything on the black market because I had a job. And so I had to go to the Maison Communale, that is the town hall, for my stamps. And the girl who gave me the stamps, she went inside. My wife today, was the secretary of the town mayor of Brussels. And she went to see, my wife's name is Flo, and she said, come Flo, do you want to see with a man with a number on his arm? And I had one look, and I fell in love. Now, I had not very close relatives here, so I made application to Australia, Canada, France, England, and USA. And I worked every 6 months. I had to renew my identity card. We have identity cards. And they marked, must emigrate, doit émigrer. And you must show them that you made the application. And this one came after 4.5 years, and I came here. And I can tell you, I never regretted it. I'm here already now 60, on the 13th of July, I was 67 years here. I bought a little house in Brighton-le-Sands. I worked for drug houses of Australia, making fine instruments for surgery. And when I fell in love with my wife, I didn't need a wife. I needed a mum. And my wife had a mum. So I got a mum and a wife in the same price. We were here only 11 months when I made application for my mother-in-law to come. And she came. I have one son and my daughter-in-law in the audience, and he is born in Brighton, the Saints, 66 years ago. It's wonderful to be alive. I want you to remember me, not as a Holocaust survivor, as a happy man who lives life to fullest. I want to tell you a few more things. One flower is my garden, and one wonderful friend is my world. I want you to remember also, to share sorrow is half sorrow. To share pleasure is double pleasure. And so I want you never to give up. The worst thing you can do to give up, or the young people like to say, it's not worth living, what's good? That's the biggest sin they can make. Life is in your hand. Unfortunately, when you have a country like we have, good thing, spoiled people. They don't know how lucky they are. Sometimes they have to listen to me, you see the letters, before they realize how lucky they are. To have parents and brothers and sisters. This is wonderful. Everything is in your hands. No one can help you. But people today have lost respect and patience. And patience is a virtue. Without patience, there is no happiness. Please, don't start where we finished. You have to go slow. Whatever is easy has no value. You have to work hard for it. And nobody dies from working hard. They die from doing nothing. I tell you, from doing nothing, they die. And they get sick and fat. So, I don't want you to be my friend only today. I want you to be my friends forever, if you let me. I'll be with you whenever you're down, because you will never be down like we were. I want you to help me that this should not happen to anyone, anywhere, any nationality or religion. It makes no difference. I want you to learn from the past so we can make the future better. It is easy if we are together. They always repeat in the television, together is better. And this is what I want you to do. But for this, we have to work as a friend. That is why I say the most important aspect of life is friendship. You see, I also tell the people, they don't realize what a mother means. I would give tomorrow half of all my money to have my mom once more in my arms. My mom died in a gas chamber at 43, and my father 49. They haven't done anything to anybody. Why? Let's make together a better world. I will be thankful, and I will look to you from up there or down there, I don't know where I do. And I'll say, oh, they do what I asked them to do. Wonderful. Thank you very much for coming.
I say Eddie for Prime Minister. Thank you all so much for being here today. I'm sure Eddie inspired every single one of you. For those of you who haven't had the opportunity to look at our new exhibition, we're open for another half an hour, which doesn't really give you much time because we've got so much new technology, videos, so much to see. Please become a member of the museum. As Eddie says, you become a member of the family. You become one of us, and we really value your support. Tell your friends about the museum. Tell your friends about inspirational survivors like Eddie that we have coming in every day. And let's give Eddie another standing ovation, please.